was born in a small village called Barking Lodge in Jamaica. And growing up, I did not have much stuff. So to pass the time, one of the things we used to do is to play little games. And one of my favorite games was 1, 2, 3, red light. Has anybody ever heard of that game? Right, I'm going to teach it to you. It simply means 1, 2, 3, red light. And when you hear red light, you freeze in whatever position you find yourself. It was one of my mother's favorite games, raising 6 kids at home. So let's try. 1, 2, 3, red light. Now before you move, I want you to check your hands. Guaranteed, over 90% of the audience is holding on to something right now. A pen, a piece of paper, your body, or if your first date, probably the hands of someone. Why is it that as human beings, we have the urge to constantly hold on to something? You see, we're born with 2 things at birth: the grasp reflex and opposable thumbs, which means we enter this earth holding on to things, and we never truly let go until the day we die. A few years ago, I was reminded of the importance of holding on. I was seated in the college changing room at a tug-of-war tournament, and the coach walked in to give his usual prep talk. "Hold on," he said. "Never let go. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. Hold on, as if your life depended on it." I marched out into that field, determined I was never going to let go. I grabbed that rope and waited for the other team to enter. A few seconds later, the other team marched out onto the field. I turned to the coach, clearly terrified. From the sidelines, he shouted, "Remember David and Goliath?" I shook my head. But I grabbed the rope. I was determined I was never going to let go. Ready, set, go. As my feet left the floor, I could hear the people singing in the crowds, "I believe she can fly." A few seconds later, I was face down in mud. My coach was immediately by my side. "Vinette," he asked, "are you okay?" "No," I mumbled. And then he asked me the most important question. "Why didn't you just let go?" It may seem funny in retrospect, but I learned a very important lesson that day. Someone once said, holding on may signify strength, but it is a smarter person that knows exactly when it's time to let go. What are some of the things that you hold on to? Relationships, even when you know it's over. Jobs, even when you know it's time to move on. Or other random stuff in our life. Now, in the interest of time, I'm just going to focus on the things we hold on to at home. Now, if you can identify with some of the things, or if you just did a mental jog around your home and think, there's nothing at home that I hold on to that I could have chucked out, let me invite you to my list. Does anybody in here, and just by a quick snap of the finger, have any old games with a few pieces missing? It's time to let it go. Then, what about that half-finished tin of paint in the garage? It can't paint another time to let it go. What about CDs and DVDs? We have moved on. Time to let it go. That cookbook that you think that you were going to cook the best meal from, but you have not touched it in over a year. Time to let go. And ladies, specialty teas. Time to let it go. But I'm not here to judge you this afternoon. I am here to share my story. 4 years ago, I moved into my home, put some boxes in the loft, and I have not been back in those 4 years. My garage still has unopened boxes of important stuff, even though I had no need for them in the past 4 years. My closet is filled with clothes hanging in different orders. There are clothes that will fit me when I lose a little bit of weight. Then I have those clothes that I'm hoping will come back into style very, very soon. And then I have a few items at the end that has a bit of memory attached to them. That first date. Can't really remember his name, but it was a good date, so I've kept the dress. And then, as a lady, I've gone through the full stages of relationship with shoes. Start with admiration. I like your shoes. That's really nice. Then passion. Where exactly did you buy it? I need one. Then obsession. I've got to get it. Tell me exactly where you have it. And final stage, addiction. So my closet is filled with shoes. Then you walk into my kitchen, and somehow there's pasta that never seems to get used, that tin of tuna at the back of the cupboard, some beans and salt, which seems to be a constant staple in my kitchen that never seem to get used. Maybe it's time to let it go. Recently I read that the Trusted Trust said between March 2016 and April 2017, there was 1.1 million requests for emergency food parcels. Yet I have pasta in my kitchen for 4 years. Oxfam recently reported, in a report issued in October 2016, that over 3.6 million unused items or unworn items are stored in people's house, when some people are going naked. Maybe it's time to let it go. Slowly, over time, we have become a nation of hoarders. In fact, the NHS now recognizes it as a medical disorder. But is this a new phenomenon? No, it's not. Our early ancestors stored food, but they had a valid reason. It was seasonal, and they had no idea when their next meal was coming along. Now we have a chip shop in every corner. So we really don't need to store that much food. They stored fur, because of course animals were scarce sometimes, and you couldn't find animals when you needed it. They didn't come into season. Now, we have a clothes shop on every side street. Maybe it's time we let it go. Maybe it's time we just let go of things that other people could benefit from. Now, at this point you're thinking, her house must be perfect. She has let go of every single thing. Wrong. I started saying letting go of things is very important. And it never hit home until last year when my mom visited from Jamaica and started the process for me. And she started letting go of a lot of things. My things. And the strangest part of it is, I never realized that she was letting go of my things. Until one day I walked in, and there she was rummaging my shoe cupboard to say, "This will fit my sister in Jamaica." And I was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she said to me, "You were born, unfortunately, with one pair of feet. It means that you can only wear one shoes at a time. This will do some good to people who don't have as much stuff." So I started curing my shoe addiction by donating a few shoes here and there, a few pieces of clothing, and of course, food from my cupboard to my local food bank. I give not because I have a lot. I give because I remember when I didn't have anything. And the challenge of letting go is not as easy as I make it seem. It's a very difficult process because we tend to attach a lot of memories and emotion to the things we own. So let me give you a small challenge so we can move in baby steps in terms of letting go. Ladies, our handbag has progressively increased in size. If you can sit there and name everything in your oversized handbag, by all means keep it. But if there's anything at the bottom of your bag that you have not used in a few months, maybe it's time to let it go. And gentlemen, that drawer in the kitchen that has chargers for appliances that you no longer own, I'm just saying, start with that. Maybe it's time to let it go. You see, just one small step from you can make a giant heap for mankind. Let's start small today and let go of the things we no longer need. Thank you.